Boys, that kind of guy. I think the main thing for Secret is they did aggro tri-lane. When, like, do you know when NA?
It is time!
So maybe that happens as well. That's what
it is time. It is time, finally, for our first game to get started. So get yourself ready to listen to the lovely voices of Cinderin and Sons Fan.
Are you ready to rumble?
Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Sons Fan here with my less obese partner, Cinderin. How are you doing? Well, less obese can mean a lot of things, so don't look too into it, my friend. You're looking very snapper yourself. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's I was just asking you before this started, like, when is the last time we cast together? It's been 3.5 years since we have been at a LAN together, and that was a LAN that you run. So. That's
right. I had to force it upon you. It's probably for the best that people don't get to see this very often, honestly.
I really didn't want to go, but you made me, and I regretted it every day.
You tell me that every day on the podcast. Yes, really appreciate working with you every single time. Anyway, we have Secret versus Gambit here. Cinderman, of course, this is the... We call it a best of two. It's really just a two-game series because a best of is an odd number, but it just sounds better to say best of two.
It's just easier.
Yeah, we're just going to continue with that.
What was your prediction for the series? Was it Secret 2-0?
I don't remember. I think... Ward off Afterlife. So... the panel did talk about this briefly, but obviously Gambit has a couple of stand-ins, if you want to call them that, as Seneko and No One have switched teams for about the 20th time in the last 12 months. So there's a bit of a wild card here, no pun intended, since they are in the wild cards themselves as well. But what are you expecting from this team? It's just kind of like chaotic, as Jenkins was saying?
I think people might be sleeping a little bit on Laranov. I think this guy's really, really talented and very good things going his way. And BZZ, pretty much a veteran who I think maybe the least lucky player in the history of the game. I think he's been one game away from TI 3 times in a row and not made it. So he's hoping to change his fate this time.
It's ironic because his set, you don't have to be lucky to get it because everyone gets it for free, right? So it works out in the end. So whose lineup? We haven't really talked about this too much, but we had the Brood offlane for Zai. Like, what do you think of these lineups together? There's not a whole lot of team fight for Secret, as the panel kind of brought up. Who do you favor, just on paper?
Just overall, I like the Gambit draft a little bit better because I find it more well-rounded. Like they pointed out, there's a lot of ways of initiating fights. They have the Save of the Legion Commander. They have multiple different stuns, ways of starting. They scale well. I think their core matchups are good. We talked about Tiny. I think Troll has some good matchups here. He's good against both the Brood, and he can actually fight the Ursa because of the blind. It's a matchup that has the potential to go both ways depending on when spells get cast. Ursa can also perch off the Whirling Axis, not Wild Axis, that's another spell.
We don't want to see Wild Axis Beastmaster
Never again. It got nerfed enough that we might not see
Jenkins brought this up, and I'm glad he did because I kind of brainwashed him during the NADPC to bring this up every time there's a Troll versus Ursa. But we don't really see this item as often anymore versus when it first came out. But the Ags on Troll is kind of crazy against Ursa, where you're just constantly blinding. It's like a 4-second cooldown on Whirling Axes, and you can obviously dispel his buffs as well. So, like, I don't know if we're going to see that this game. It's like probably a second item after your first farming. Like, I'm assuming a Battle Fury or something like that for the Brood. But, like, what do you think of, like, do you think not Battlefield, do you think Ags is actually, like, a legit thing? Or is it kind of a meme?
I think it's good on Troll in some games. I don't know if it's worth it here in particular, just because, yeah, it's good against Ursa, but what about the rest? Do you really need to buy this item versus getting almost like a full Skadi, Sanjinyasha, other items that have a similar price range? I personally wouldn't recommend it, but I find a lot of the times when I watch Troll players that their builds surprise me quite a lot. So I'm not sure if I have the correct read on the hero in general of how to build it when, but definitely, like, there are paths here for him. I don't think it's, like, clear-cut what he should buy. The biggest weakness I see for Troll in this game, like, traditionally, is the Bane matchup, which is really annoying, because, like, you have these two heavy single-target counters in both Nightmare and Fiend Script, but Gambit have a solution. They've pressed the attack, which can easily enable their Troll. And
what a spell. You know, it's funny how often that spell has been buffed over the last 3. The hero is literally press the attack. The other 3 abilities are actually just whatever. You could random the other abilities, and she probably would be even more popular because you get the chance to get Ravage.
So what you're saying, if you're playing AD, just first pick press the attack.
I mean, press the attack with Shard is kind of ridiculous.
It is very, very
Second and a half immunity, pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, they do have the Tiny like you talked about. I mean, in terms of the mid matchup, you talked about how this is Tiny favored. Are you talking about like early on? Because right now the CS is slightly in favor of Puck.
Yep. Nisha is an exceptional laner, so I will say overall, like the lane itself will usually be even. It's more about in the game rather than lane. Matsu's in trouble.
Just enough damage from BZZ. That's gonna be first blood the way of Gambit, and Puppy's gonna, well, he's gonna get some solo XP. I think he might be happy about this.
Yeah, he's
on
like,
some level.
Thanks, Matu. He's, needs the space. Yeah, good start for Gambit overall in that lane. Obviously, the net worth is still pretty much neck and neck, but we're only 5 minutes in. And usually in this patch, I feel like the games will often have this... You will not see as often that one team gets a really big advantage in the first few minutes just because of the nature of like how the mid lane has changed with the water runes. Right. It's more easy for a lot of heroes to break even that would usually be unfavored. And in the side lanes, I think pulling is more stabilized to the extent where both teams have a relatively easy way of countering it out. So a lot of the times these lanes will go like this. And what really defines the game is what happens in the following 5 to 10 minutes when power runes start coming out and when heroes reach level 6.
Right. Well, Troll's having a pretty good time in terms of CS, though. 31-5 versus the Ursa 29-2. Basically a wash, but the panel kind of brought this up. It feels like Secret is this one team that it doesn't matter. Like, you look at the score and the other team will have an advantage, like even extreme advantage, like 10-2, but Secret is still out farming them. Yeah. Like what Jenkins kind of brought up the fact it's like the supports kind of just finding farm elsewhere. Why is that so unique to Secret? We don't really see it as often from these other teams, it feels like.
It's a good question. I think nice. Sick dodge, actually.
But he's going to take the Avatos, give the illusory orb to safety. Pretty low on HP, but it looks like Nisha will survive. We'll get the Arcane Rune as well.
I don't know if that dodge was on purpose. It looked like he was trying to silence before the sun came out, but he jumped over it.
He's good.
If that would have hit, he would have died. Yeah. So pretty... We're gonna chalk that up to godlike play and not luck.
Yep.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
That should help.
But yeah, to come back to the supports, I think usually what Secret has been doing a really great job at in the past that has enabled them to farm a lot is be very efficient about placing vision. Usually the reason other teams will have their supports more clinging onto their cores is that if you don't have very good vision and very good map awareness as a team, it's harder to have the reads of when you're safe as a core. And a lot of the times that means that defensive support or stun support or whatever will be near the cores in case of an emergency. And Secret will usually, more often than other teams, at least historically, will do a really good job at having this vision and this understanding of where movements are happening so that their cores are very independent. It does, however, also mean that in some games it really backfires. Like you'll have these disastrous Secret games where their cores are dying way too much, and that is usually how they end up losing, is their cores getting picked off in this disconnected play. Zai often being the biggest victim of this.
You've had a lot of experience with that with him on your team in the past, I'm sure. We're going to see an Impale connect onto Zai, but telekinesis is there. It's going to be enough damage for ultimate just in time for DR. Zai taking the brunt of the damage now as he attempts to get out of dodge. He's going to pop that wand. He's going to apply some more pressure to DR. Looks like he's going to go down to Zai's newly picked up ultimate. Now Immersion will take a little bit more damage, but will survive. But a big troll kill for Secret.
Yeah. Man, Spawn Spiderlings is just a spell now. It's so crazy good.
Yeah.
Since it's become that ultimate level 1, 300 damage, 9-second cooldown nuke.
It's funny, when they changed the hero, nobody really knew. So we're going to perhaps see some action here. Nisha with a nice silence there to be able to get that haste rune. In fact, we'll turn his sights to Immersion. There's the coil. He already used the spike care. He's going to dodge the Impale and Fog. Illusory Orb and a couple of right clicks should suffice. And that's going to be a nice solo kill for Nisha, as Puppy just wanted to steal some XP as per norm. But when this Broodmother was first changed, a lot of people were kind of unsure of what to expect, but it feels like it kind of plays like the old one once you get 6, and at the same time it's still way more dynamic and flexible than kind of this hero that just plays on it by itself for, you know, the entire game.
Yeah, it has more options in laning, right? The old Brood was extremely one-dimensional. Yeah,
they are squeezing in after. There's going to be a couple TPs coming in, but
Tiny rotating. These supports don't have the damage. You can't find the kills yet. Ursa sitting on a 1200 max health. You know the Brood has that big lifesteal. This is not the way you solve this pressure coming in from Secret. There's a lot of responsibility going Laurenoff's way. Maybe the idea for Gambit is we want Tiny to just sit mid until he has Dagger. But then I think it's better to just cut your losses. Rotating supports into Brood is so bad. It's really, really hard, as most of these supports in the game right now in this stage, 10 minutes in, to handle what Brute brings to the table. You saw there, especially, I think Snapfire's build is 0-2-3, which is pretty standard right now with the, you just can't kill Spiderlings. You don't have the,
right.
You don't have Scatterblast.
What do you think of, who was that has the EG supporter pack for Secret? Was it Nisha? Like, what do you think about that? Having a team that's not your own. that is a bit odd. You think they would be in their contract? You please use your own supporter pack.
I hope Arteezy is using the Secret one.
That would actually be perfect.
Yes.
But what do you think of Tiny as like this mid lane here? Because we've seen it before. You get this Blink Dagger, you start to snowball, and then even if you do snowball, it feels like in this patch, like you get the shard at 20, which you don't even necessarily do on this hero because you're kind of this burst damage here. You can't really, like if it's position 1, it makes sense to get the shard, right? Because you get this constant tree that you can just farm with and deal a lot of damage with, like kind of like the old no-tail build in the original OG. But like, what do you go with Tiny these days after snowballing mid if you get off to a decent start?
I think it's really game specific, and that's also part of why the hero is really powerful right now as a mid, is that you can take different routes, right? If you want to go for the carry route, like you said, you can go for a shard and a right-click build, but I think there's a lot of games where you can go for some sort of a utility spellcasting build as well. In this game, I would probably recommend looking for the best possible way of bursting supports. I don't think you man fight the Ursa very well, and with the Brute's early game here, I'm not sure if again if you want to look to really bring it to Zai this early on, but gonna have to wait and see what his idea is after Dagger. I don't think he's shift queued anything else up. Matsu is currently soloing Roshan.
Yep, as Nisha gets a coil off, and it looks like the LC will take a tumble here, in addition to the very early Rosh like you talked about. It's literally a Blade of Alacrity and some lifesteal from Matu.
Yep.
So 11.5 minutes, and that primed them for, I mean, the second Rosh we talk about how important it is, but the shard on Ursa is beyond insane. Just being able to Earthshock and get the Enrage off constantly is super crazy. But I mean, this is obviously good. Talk to me about this Ursa diffusal that we've been seeing a lot more in the last month. It used to be kind of this situational thing where, you know, against the Medusa or certain heroes you would need some catch, but we're seeing like literally every game now. What's changed?
I think a lot of the time, so what was popular a short while ago, like 2 months ago or a month ago even, was to go Battle Fierce on Yasha and just really play it as a true carry. I think by going this diffusal, you play into Ursa's other style, which is the anti-carry logic, where you're like, okay, I'm coming online earlier than you, and then I'm going to run at you. I think in this game, I'm not going to say you're going to see diffusal every game. Oh, we're going to see it
coil up again because of that arcane rune.
That is basically nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Gets a silence off, so it won't get dueled as of yet. Illusory or out, but Nisha barely surviving for now, but finally the Mortimer's Kisses catch up to him. So a nice turnaround kill for Gambit, much needed.
That felt a little bit like a complete blunder. That was very surprising that he chose to go for that. Diving a Nyx in Tower's puck is very dangerous. Yeah. You're basically stunning yourself whenever you go, unless you do a perfect phase shift on the coil break there, then...
He just wanted to even things up for the crazy dodge that he had earlier that you were questioning whether that was luck or not.
Yeah. He's a fair player.
So strong, guys.
Diffusal Ursa, I think it's also a very good way for him to deal with Troll, right? It's also a great counter matchup.
See the tier 1 tower and the grip, but Puppey's going to continue on. The Cookie only hitting Yapzor there, so they'll get both the tower and the kill. And now DR, looks like Yapzor will sacrifice his life for the betterment of his team. Oh, we can see an Avatar. Is that a blink reveal? Not enough to kill Puppey as of yet. He's getting bottled from Nisha. Very nicely done. And it looks like with that phase shift, should be able to survive on both.
Oh, now he's in trouble. He overextended.
Yeah, and Matu with that Aegis. Afterlife is pretty freaking fast, and Coil is not quite up yet. This is going to be a long chase, perhaps. Matu finally gets the Earthshock off. And just a couple more right clicks, and down he goes. So 3K net worth lead for Secret right now. And this is exactly what they needed with this kind of line. We talked about how the team fight's not particularly amazing, but if they get off to, you know, a decent start where they can snowball, especially against a hero like Tiny that wants to snowball himself, it puts them in prime position to win this game. Man, every player on Gambit has a different supporter pack. I've seen Fnatic, I've seen OG. Where's the 4 Zoomers pack? I hear that one's pretty good. We're gonna see a tier 1 or tier 2 tower taken out top now.
This is not the early game that I was expecting. I was expecting Brute to probably be able to have a pretty good start, but Secret has really just completely destroyed the first 15 minutes. Tier 2 tower down, tier 1 tower mid down, Roche down, just recipe for running over a game. And the challenge now for Gambit is to... They need to find a way to group up so their heroes connect and fight together. Ideally, you want to find a kill on, I want to say, the Bane, Rubik, and the Puck. I think going on Brood is going to be too difficult. Brood has gone for a pretty standard build right now, which is to go pipe. You just make the top part. You know you're playing into an Aegis that is likely going to get used relatively soon by Secret as well to try to get something extra. So,
yep, Immersion. He's Vendetta up, gets the Impale off. It looks like the Avatar should be enough to take out YapzOr, but it is just a position 4. I mean, it is a greedy little boy in YapzOr position 4 as always. And we'll see if Nisha can find it. It looks like the TPs will be successful though. So they find that pick and get out. Oh, Afterlife in the meantime. I mean, look at the net worth right now. Before that kill, it was top 3 net worths in the game are all the cores for Secret, so things are just very much in their favor. But Troll did get that 14.5-minute Battle Fury, so he's going to start to ramp up himself. What do you think about that choice this game? And we discussed it as probably what they was going to go for.
Yeah. I definitely think it's the right call. The way Gambit's lineup works is a lot more built around this hyper carry later on, and the other heroes are going to make space and look to fight for him. The fights haven't really gone the way Gambit wanted, so this doesn't look as good.
This will be a big... Oh, Nisha choosing the right 50-50 there. And I mean, since Lorenev's gotten this Blink Dagger, he's found, I think, 1 kill on a support. So hasn't been exactly what he's been looking for. And it feels like when you play the mid-tiny, you go for that Blink Dagger build, which, again, for mid-tiny is very normal. You need to be getting these kills, like, semi-consistently to be able to snowball.
Yeah. It's definitely not the pace that you're looking for, and I think a big part of the reason that he's struggling to find kills is that they lost these top towers, right? Like, when you lose so much control over the map and you see what vision Secret has, even if it's just this one ward deep in the enemy jungle at the top half, they have so much information about where the rest of the team must be, right? You can rule them out in half of the map basically.
Oh, we have a duel.
That's a win.
Aegis is now gone.
Oh, perfect.
That is a
timing.
huge kill for Gambit, and
Very
BZZ
nice.
survives on top of that. Wow. That was very close timing as well.
Yeah, that was super well done. And I will say, you know, I like talking about this a lot when we look at strategy and we look at like gold, because a lot of the times people will just refer to the gold and then be like, oh, this team has a gold lead, therefore they're ahead in the game. It's very game specific how big a 4K gold lead is, right?
True.
Like, yeah, you have this 4K gold lead, but what is it going into? It's a Brood with Pipe. This will fall off against these heroes. Eventually, Troll and Tiny are going to pack a punch, right? It's really good right now, but are you converting it into something more meaningful going forward where you can truly contest this Troll? Because, like the panel talked about, you know, it's an Ursa going Diffusal. He's gonna get out-farmed by a Troll with Battle Fury, right? So can you keep up the pace? He really needs to keep map controlling.
Oh my.
Those spiders died to a tree toss.
They sure did, and I think the FPS also took a huge drop as a result.
It's all good.
Intended, still in beta, but it's all good. BZZ, his career shall survive the day. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not only net worth, but XP difference is also a stat that we don't really get to see.
Great
also
stun from Immersion.
Carapace into the Avatos. Not enough for Nisha to die as of yet, but soon after he does. It's a 1-for-1 is in the backline. Zai was taking somebody out, and there's the Fiend's Grip onto Lorenov. That's going to be enough to take him out as well. And here we have the duel. It's not going to be enough to actually get a kill for Afterlife this time around. And the Nightmare into the double Impale to follow. Matu just continuing to go ham. There's the telekinesis, and that's going to be another kill going the way of Secret. Almost a full team wipe after losing their Puck, who didn't even use Coil.
That looked like there was going to be such a great fight for Gambit, but he got mana burned on Troll. He couldn't get ulti off. They got the catch on Tiny that there was no counter for. I guess press the attack must have been on cooldown. I think it's pretty important here for Afterlife to reserve this for Fiend's Grip, actually. It's the one solution that they really have.
It's true.
And Puppey, he managed to find himself in a great position. He doesn't have lens yet, but he was still able to get that full duration off. And
not only that, but YapzOr setting everything up with the double Impale that was stolen.
Yes, very nice.
I mean, this is something we just expect to see from YapzOr when he picks up his Rubik.
For sure. And obviously this is a big part of what Brood does, right? You are, even though you do get this honestly great puck kill. Oh,
goodbye, BZZ.
He is very dead.
That was a long-range attack there from Matu.
It was melee.
Okay, that was a Monkey King melee right there.
Diffusal gives 200 attack range.
Oh, okay. That wasn't in the patch notes, but it makes sense now.
That's why people pick it up, right?
I see.
Yeah.
Just a hidden mechanic there. Beautiful.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those in this patch so far. It's like a shard. Oh, it gives less cooldown on Waps. Interesting. I did not know this. So yeah. now Secret have a very, very comfortable lead. That was such a big moment for them. Basically a 5k gold advantage gained from that fight alone. And a really, really big part of it is just that you're fighting into Brood on Brood's territory, right? You found the puck kill, but Brood got to get the wraparound, get a quick kill, and the pipe did come into play quite a lot there for the team as well. So really crucial for Gambit, I think. Right now,
Afterlife has the Secret supporter pack. He's playing against them. Is this a mind game that we're playing here?
He likes the opponents. He wants to join Team Secret. This is a trial game for him.
I see.
Oh, good smoke break here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Immersion.
I believe Roche is up now, so Matu can take that pretty much anytime he wants. Oh, not yet.
It's very, very soon to spawn.
By very soon means 2 minutes. I mean, you can cook rice fat in that time.
In the grand scheme of
America,
in the grand scheme of a lifetime, it is very, very soon.
That's true. The whole lifetime's a blink of an eye, really.
Yeah.
Blink dagger on Yapzor. I mean, this position for Rubik continues to, I mean, would you say that he's gotten greedier over time, the same, or less greedy?
Less greedy.
Really?
Actually, yeah.
Wow. What did it take for him to see the light?
A threat with the machete.
I see. That's puppy style for sure, no doubt. Okay.
I need gold, Yapzor. Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, Emergent. Looks like Troll will get out. Emergent actually does have Vendetta, so...
That would have been a great, great pick for Secret. I mean, they're obviously very comfortable right now, but that is the kill they want to find.
Courier snipe. Oh, they see him, Puppy, with the Nightmare. Vendetta stolen from Yapzor. That'll come in handy, and there's a Fiend's Grip, and this will be eventually an easy kill. Bonk. Oh, he actually uses the Vendetta just for that strike. Thought he'd use that for scouting or something. I guess they didn't have enough damage to kill him outright. So Troll Warlord does go for the 5 fervor attack speed talent, which kind of indicates to me, like we were kind of talking about the potential for Ags. You rarely go for that talent if you're going Ags. The 9 only Axes is like pretty much required, I feel like.
For sure.
But he does have SNY and the Battlefield as we talked about, so BKB next, and that's when he's in real fighting shape.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if going this SNY was really worth it, right? Because if you get this item and you can't fight with it immediately and you're losing map control, you're basically, now you're starved, right? You're waiting for this BKB, but you only control, I want to say, being generous, probably 30% of the map. So if you imagine this SNY being a BKB now, maybe you could make a smoke move and try to take that fight that brings you back into the game and then get a key item off of that.
Right.
Right now, I'm a little bit worried for Gambit that Secret's map control in this previous fight is just going to, they're just going to keep snowballing. This should be the second Roche with Aegis, Cheese, and Shard. Probably give the Shard to Ursa.
Oh, yeah.
Other possible Shard pickups?
I mean, you have the AoE Brain Sap, you have Rubik's Telekinesis, which is considered one of the worst in the game, apparently.
Could give it to Brood. The mischance on Bola is actually very good against Troll and Tiny.
AoE Silken Bola. Yeah, pretty solid.
But Matu will use it, looks like.
I mean, I just think Ursa's is literally, if I was making a tier list, it would be top 5. I don't even have to look at other heroes right now. But then again, Legion Commander is also on that list. So, of course, that's the other team. So they're not going to get an Aegis in all likelihood based on how this game is going. I mean, it's a 10k lead for Secret right now. Matu, obviously, with that Aegis, still has the cheese in his backpack as well. And they look pretty primed and ready to go. Like, the longer this game goes, obviously, it's going to be better for the Troll Warlord who went for this farming build. Some aggression here. Looks like the duel will be successful. The coil's going to keep everything in place, but it's not enough to keep Zai alive. So a big duel victory there for Gambit. Looks like they'll trade off one. Nightmare.
Yo, Puppy, wake him up.
Fiend's Grip.
He can't wake up.
Yeah, he's still sleeping. Hibernating is the bear. So it looks like that might just break things up. And, well, I say that now, but Matu is very aggressive. Has the Aegis, obviously, so not too scared of anything right now. Pops the Enrage, but not able to find anybody in the end. So still a good trade there for Gambit. I mean, a support for Zai, who is, I mean, top 3 overall in net worth for the game.
It was their first Brood kill, 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And they even have heroes that can find it, right? They have the Nyx to scout and try to find the Brood in the jungle, and they have these burst heroes with the tiny Snapfire ults, but they just haven't managed until now.
I mean, it's interesting because it was a first 2 pick Brood, right? So it's not like it was a surprise, and I've seen this in other DPC regions as well, where they're like, okay, they dare you to counter. If you counter it, then maybe you overdo it to some point, and then you have another weakness in your draft. If you're just going for the brood, like, it's interesting how different this hero actually is based on all the changes that were made.
It really does feel like when you think back to 20 minutes ago that what really set off brood on this path was the 2 TPs top from the supports that he just went to eat under the tower. And
tower, yeah.
If that is a tiny TP, I think the entire trajectory of the game looks really different. So that is what is so challenging about playing against brood right now, is that when the pressure kicks in, it's so fast and it's really hard. So you really need to find these correct moves. Brood can look really weak if it gets hit correctly, but the exact set of conditions that you need to meet and do it correctly, if you fail that once or twice, this is the kind of state that you can very easily find yourself in. So Secret being a very good aggressive team, they will know when to find these movements and play around their brood, and they did it top.
Dust actually does connect on Immersion, but looks like he's far enough away. I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about Lorenov on the Tiny. We kind of discussed the fact that this hero is Immersion, will be found, at least for the time being, but now out of vision. I mean, he's kind of tapered off, right? This hero, it feels like if you're not getting these kills, you start to really pay the consequences of picking this type of hero, which feels like there's only one way to gain traction in the early stages of the game before you can actually, you know, potentially turn into a carry type hero. As
Easy toast.
Goodbye.
Oh, they found Nyx too.
Yeah, Nightmare keeps him in place. There's the shard from Afterlife, but the Fiend's Grip to follow, and they're just going to have to sacrifice their little bug friend. And this will likely be a tier 2 tower as well. And Aegis still got a couple minutes to go, so.
In all fairness, though, there are a lot of mid heroes that will look relatively weak when you lose the map that hard. Like, they lost so much map control so quickly, and they really need
major advantage right now. I mean, it's 10k net worth at 26 minutes. That's pretty freaking large. Looks like Matu's, for now, Matu's very low on mana. He kind of wants to die here. He's going to pop the Enrage and DR. He gets pressed the attack. Looks like he'll be safe for now into the high ground. The Spider's being farmed up in the meantime, but they'll find the Nyx Assassins, buy back into the game immediately. Lorenov not able to take anybody out with the Avatos. We'll have to try to get out of dodge here. And now Troll getting chased by Matu. Press the attack again used to try to keep him alive. In the meantime, we're seeing yet another kill on the backside. As Secret just continuing the pressure here. Another 12 seconds on the Aegis. We'll see how close they've timed this, but my goodness, Troll out of nowhere. No press the attack available that time around. That'll be the death of him. So 60 seconds on the deck, no buyback. And now the Aegis will be taken, but the cheese is still there, I do believe, although I think he just passed it off from Zai, looks like.
Yeah, the Secret are just outclassing them. Gambit look a bit lost in these fights, right? You see this Tiny jumping in and finding 2 supports, but there's literally nobody connecting with them. They're not on the same page. The Mortimer Kisses miss basically entirely. Legion is spending the entire fight keeping Troll safe so he can run away. He didn't hit a hero, I think. He was just running for his life the whole time. Don't want to fight into the Aegis. And yeah, it's...
The toss into the Impale under the tier 3 tower. Duel is there as well. Do they have enough damage to actually take him out? But the Nightmare save for now. He will die, but no dual damage goes the way of Gambit. But they've taken heavy damage as a result of this. Looks like Secret will respect this, though, and fall back. A nice Avatos combo there, getting him out of position.
That's the kind of thing you would like to see from Gambit, right? That they really combine their spells. And it's obviously easier to do in your own base when you have a Tiny. But I've been missing that a little bit in their team fights, that it feels like, okay, Tiny is connecting with someone. Like you have a toss, you Mortimer Kisses on top of it. Maybe you find a duel, maybe you find a Nyx stun, whatever it is, so that you pile onto something and build some sort of an advantage in the beginning. Oh, that's a very easy kill. Fiend's Grip.
Easy peasy. That's true. We haven't really seen, like, Mortimer Kisses hasn't really had much of an effect because it feels like he needs to be up close to get the Snapfire cookie for the save.
But I think that's the wrong approach to take it. I think Cookie should not be considered his primary spell in this game. You have enough other stuns that your ulti is your primary contribution to the fight.
Right.
And the moment you go in to try to use Lil Shredder, I think you're just going to die to Brood. Like, it's a really annoying matchup for Snapfire to play because once the spiders are on top of you, you don't really have a solution. Usually Snapfire supports don't max out Scatterblast, so the spiders will just stay on you. You try to Cookie away, they're faster than you. You can't stun them because they're on top of you. You just very easily get swarmed. So I think the best way to play Snap here is put Solar Crest on your Troll, walk back, and press your ult. And then when the fight develops, maybe you can find a cookie for bonus kills or for a save, but it's not going to work as your primary spell against these heroes.
Yeah, and I feel like from a draft perspective, I mean, again,
That's
not
Shard
on who?
on Bane.
Bane Elemental Shard. Don't get to see this all too often, so it's the AoE Brain Sap. I believe the AoE portion doesn't heal for full, and if I'm not mistaken, does it do full damage or is it
Yes.
less damage as well?
Full damage.
Oh,
Heals for
good.
Heals for a quarter though.
Yeah, we can see the Avatos. Not quite enough, but the duel should be there. It's finally a winner for Afterlife.
This could be good for them.
Potential big kill on Nisha. He's going to get trolled here, as Troll actually popped his ult, and now that's going to leave Nisha completely free to get out. But now the pressure is applied to Zai. Looks like he'll get away as Matu pops the BKB. Now Troll attempting to get out. Looks like Lorna might have to be, the cookie will be used on him instead. And again, it just feels like this whole game, Gambit is on the retreat in their own base. They do survive though. Oh, I speak too soon here. Press the attack on Emergent with the Spike Carapace combination. There's the tree toss killing a bunch of spiders.
Well, they got out of it.
Yeah, they sure did.
Not sure if they're fully happy with that though. That looked like a potential opening on the puck, but Troll did not manage to get enough damage in there. They didn't have enough stuns left in the tank after the first kill on Puppy. But they do survive, and we do see the value of the BKBs, right? Like, that is definitely kills for Ursa if they don't pop these BKBs to run out. But obviously the duration dropping is something Secret are going to be very happy about. Makes their puck a lot better. And I do believe this Aghanims on puck should be underweight. No, he's not even going to buy that. That's kind of surprising. I feel like this is a really good Ags game.
He's going E-Blade. My good. I mean, that's obviously a great
Also
save
good.
against Duel and any target that Troll's going for. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, it's still odd not to see the Ags for all that BKB piercing ability, of course.
When you're playing against a team that spends 90% of the fight running away, it's really good to have an item that counters running away. So
That's true.
I just think it's a great synergy with Ursa to have the Ags in particular, because he takes so much advantage of people being stunned, even if they're BKB'd. He just mauls them, right?
Yeah.
So that's a great carry to have on the side of an Ags coil. But you can definitely see the merit for E-Blade as well. I think both items are good in their own right.
I think perhaps the way they're thinking is they're winning this game. The only way they can lose is some crazy duel on top of Snapfire ult where they just delete your hero. So E-Blade, in theory, counters that. Well, not the Snapfire ult. But then again, he hasn't been using his Snapfire ult all too effectively so far.
Right. I guess their logic right now is the enemy team, it's only Troll that is really going to be an issue.
Right.
And we solved that guy with that item. But you have to be a little bit careful. Like, yeah, there's the Snapfire ult, but it's also if you E-Blade someone, tiny combo hurts. And
Oh, yeah.
you give the Nyx a really strong mana burn. Like, let's say you E-Blade yourself as Puck, that mana burn hurts. It's like 800 damage.
that's true.
So, gotta be a little bit wary.
I mean, if this game was going to go any later, which I'm not sure it will, Nullifier would be a great item for Troll to counter that as well. There's literally no counter to Nullifier. You ever think about, like, Lincoln's, I guess, is the only thing. It's actually crazy how much they've micro-buffed this item over
BKB.
time. Well, you use it before that. It doesn't take it off. Nothing takes it off.
Oh, more up.
Emergent gets jumped for the time being, but there's the coil onto 3 heroes. They're stuck inside, but the right clicks, and there's the Nightmare, or the Fiend's Grip, I should say. Gets tossed into the fray, though. Pops his ult, doing a lot of damage. Matu trying to reset. Looks like Puppy's going to resign to his own death here. He's going to be the first to fall. Enrage popped. Looks like Zai's trying to work his way around the outside of this fight here. As Cheese is popped by Matu. And the stacks are starting to get overwhelming, no pun intended, onto the Troll Warlord. That's going to be an easy kill. They just outlast them. The farm differential is too big. 16k net worth. This should be, at the very least, a set of racks.
That was a key cheese. I think without the cheese, Gambit actually win this fight. But Matu able to obviously fully reset, and Secret taking the fight knowing that they have this advantage, right? I think that was the best fight we saw out of Gambit the whole game. It really felt like they're connecting on something here. They managed to counter out the grip. It took a little bit of time, but that's an extra kill. Afterlife is not getting out of this one.
Yep, super dead. And there's only one buyback. Of course, the timers aren't crazy long, but let's see what else they go for here. If they go for the tier 4, I mean, they do have a bunch of spiders, so there's definitely potential. They pop the pipe, and looks like they'll go for the safe route here.
Why did he pipe?
Just for fun. It looks cool. You know,
Yeah.
very green.
You're damn right about that. It is green. All right, 2 lanes. I think Secret, if they knew there were no buybacks, they would have probably ended the game there. But playing it safe, getting 2 sides, probably going to back off after that.
I mean, they don't even have a tier 1 bot yet. That's kind of crazy. You can tell that Zai has not been on that half of the map the entire game. But 2 racks for Secret, and they can, I mean, we'll see how disciplined they want to be. I mean, we talked about this before, and the panel kind of brought it up. Is Roche is up actually. So, what is in Roche today? What are the goodies we have? Is this Refresher Shard or an Aghanim Scepter?
It is dun dun dun.
The Ags. Thank goodness.
It is a scepter.
So Matu Ags is pretty good, as he will eat it. So that'll give him the Enrage cooldown reduction, and you can use it while you're disabled, which is insane. I mean, they have some pretty good Ags on their team. I mean, we talked about how Puck didn't even buy one. That actually would have been the best. Probably to give up is there's the Abatos.
All right, they got that real bad.
That thing got absolutely wrecked. Now the chase is on Gambit. Feels like the whole game they kind of have to do this. Tiny is this hero that just wants to go in and out, especially when you build this way. There's a defusal on the BZZ. Looks like he is mega dead. Oh! There's the Yules to save him for now, but the coil will keep. It's just for his BZZ. That's all they want. Oh, okay, press the attack. I mean, eventually he's gonna die.
Nice cookie.
He's styling on Secret right now, but it's not enough, sadly. All right, so 30K net worth lead for Secret. Look primed and ready with that Aegis, with the cheese, with the Eaton Ags.
It's so good. It's so good on Ursa this game, right? It's in a way, it's kind of like having the cheese indirectly, because if you get stun chain now, you can enrage and pop Satanic.
Yeah.
Enrage Satanic BKB. There's no silences, so it's pretty much guaranteed. I don't see Gambit killing this guy in any possible way, basically. They need to do some crazy toss back, force his cooldowns, hold him down forever, and then...
I mean, how often do we see a 36-minute game and they've roached 3 times already? That's pretty awesome.
That's one of the things Ursa does.
Yeah, I mean, the panel talked about potential level 1 roaches, which sadly aren't a thing anymore, which we've talked about this before. I understand why it's not a thing, but for the viewers, it was a lot of fun.
I think there is a way to find a healthy balance where you can level 1 Roach and it's not like totally game breaking and also not terrible.
Yeah, right now it's just not worth it. Even if you can do it, it's super not worth it. All right, tower taken out. Snapfire ult already used. As Matu just pounding on these racks.
Hey guys, you're getting megged.
Yep, Solar Crest applied. He's going to be very difficult. Now he's Satanic along with the Aegis and the Ags like we talked about. Popsy Enrage early because the cooldown is super low, has absolutely no mana to speak of, but they do no damage to this bear. Press the attack applied to Troll, but eventually this rack shall fall. That will be Megas for Secret, and I believe we're going to have one more fight before the GGs come out. We're going to fight under their tier 3 towers. Matu is getting pretty low, still has the Satanic, of course, and the Enrage. Is going to get tossed, not into Fountain, but into the arms of the Troll Warlord. Fiend's Grip will stop the attacking, and that last right click for Matu is more than enough. Buyback onto the next Assassin, but Troll Warlord has absolutely nothing to work with. Still dead for 80 seconds. There we're seeing the duel into the Fountain. He gets it! Unreal! But they still lose, sadly. As the Fountain farming commences. My favorite thing in Dota, of course. It's a great feature. No, this is fine. If it's a little like diving here and there, but farming is different than diving. You know what I mean? Farming requires like 2 minutes of time invested into your Fountain.
Is there a pro team in Dota that never says GG until the throne falls?
I'm sure there's plenty. Oh, they actually disconnected. Maybe we have them muted.
Because if that is the case, what do you think the public response would be to a team Fountain farming that team for 15 minutes in an official game?
I mean, people would love it probably. People are sadists.
I think so.
started, game number 2. We have the drafts complete. We got Medusa, which was a hot pick throughout especially the last month of the DPC. We are actually very close to tossing, but one more question. You said earlier, Jenkins, that Medusa was kind of figured out in pubs. Yes, true or no?
I think yeah. Diffusal getting picked up a lot more. It definitely helps. Mana burn hurts her in the early game.
Yeah.
Secret is greedy right now, and greed is good in this game. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I was told we. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Now we're ready, and I'm definitely ready to hear Sunfan and Sinrin. Always ready to hear Jenkins.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Shiver, T Governor, and that
Jenkins
other guy.
here.
No, I will not speak his name. For some reason, people really think that we dislike each other, but we're brothers, you know? Well, in fact, I'm more of his father figure, the obese father that he will become at some point in his life. I'm just trying to help him battle the depression that will come soon, Cinder. But how are you doing?
That was really dark. I'm doing great. You know who I think will not be doing so great?
Gambit?
Yes, I'm a little bit worried, I have to admit. And the reason is, so I'm mainly going to draw on the last game's experience, right? What we saw.
Okay.
With what Secret managed to pull off with their early pressure coming out of that off lane, and how Gambit, with a lot of playmaking heroes, didn't really manage to find many opportunities. In this game, I feel like their lineup is extremely limited in playmaking potential. You have no like easy catch. You need to hit either a Trant ulti, you need to hit Brambles, or you need to start with a Rupture. And what did Secret identify with this draft? Well, if you guys have very limited catch and very limited like single target damage, we are going to just pick Medusa and this Timber Star that we already got early. I think this Medusa last pick is incredible this game, because what does Medusa not want? She does not want to face really heavy single target damage or extremely mobile heroes, and Gambit have neither. Their only real single target is Morph. Bloodseeker does no damage to single target that stands still, and Luna is a spread damage carry. So this Medusa with a couple of items is just going to stand there, get Solar Crested, and hit stuff. And as Gambit, you're going to have to try to find a way of piercing this defense that Secret will have. So I find myself in this similar spot to the last game, where I think Gambit need to come out of the lanes really well and start rolling. But only this time it's going to be harder for them to find the moves. So I'm excited to see Lornov morph, though. I agree with Jenkins on that. I really share that sentiment. This hero
the fact that he's going against a Medusa and he already builds Diffusal apparently on him. Wow, right into their traps they're in. But like, I look at this line for Gambit, you're right. It's a lot more difficult to probably execute in the mid to late game, but I see a lot of pub potential here, right? Obviously, they don't have a whole lot of stuns, which is their biggest issue, but you obviously have the Morphling. Once you get Ags, you can turn into Dark Willow for the Shadow Realm as Afterlife taking a buttload of damage there in the top lane. But in addition, you Blood Rage the Morphling for attack speed with the Shadow Realm. True. You have the Terrorize into Rupture. You get the Ags, double Fear, double Rupture Center. Just think of how good that is.
You know what the best lineup in Dota is?
What's that? It's Lone Druid?
No, it's Warlock, Echo. It's Warlock, Shaker, Darkseer. You vacuum 5-man Fatal Bonds, and then you Echo Slam 5 heroes, and they all die. It is so good.
I love that lineup.
Yep.
It works so often.
Just do that, Gambit. Just hit all your spells that are difficult to combo onto a world-class team, and then you're good. So don't worry about it.
They're going to do just fine, Cinder, and you'll see. Okay.
Decent pressure coming out on Matsu here. He's going to be forced to use his Salve. Still sitting on level 1. Interesting that Puppy got level 2 first. I wonder if he found a D ward here or something like that to get that experience.
What do you think of the nerfs to Medusa in the last patch? So the Aghanim's got a bit of a retouch there. I think slightly lower stun duration. The talents were worked around a bit. I think that's the biggest difference. Was the 15
easily
became
the
a 20 talent, and they didn't even change the numbers.
It was actually one of the heroes that got nerfed the hardest, in my opinion, just because you moved Medusa's insane timing by 5 levels.
Right.
And even if you get both of the same talents, they're still worse, because the cooldown reduction for the Snake is now 1.5 instead of 3, I believe. It's 1.5 on level 15 instead of 3 on. Oh, Puppy is mangoing it up.
Yep, he sure is.
He is hungry.
Well, Emergent.
Have you ever eaten 3 mangoes in 5 seconds in real life?
No, that
sounds really hard. But if you do it, you get magical powers. So it's actually not surprising that he could cast spells.
I bet Ice Frog is done.
I have tried. I had to throw up after 1.5.
Thank you, Cinder.
But I did do it in 3 seconds, though, so it did.
So you technically ate 1.5 in 3 seconds?
It did make Reddit front page, yes.
Okay, that's great to hear. I'm glad we're talking about that at the beginning of the game when the laning stage is happening.
We haven't cast
that's true. We haven't cast in a while. We haven't gone off on tangents. Maybe you could hold that for big team fights, and then as I'm about to call the team fight, you start talking about your Mango experience.
No, the thing is, Shannon, since we haven't cast together for a very long time, I'm kind of getting adjusted again, and I'm trying to speak your language. So I was
Hey,
thinking,
I was being a good boy.
if I talk about food and eating fast, I was like,
That's true.
That's your wheelhouse. You love it.
That is true.
You bring up obesity as the intro. It's every game so far. It's 2 out of 2.
All right, I'm gonna stop doing that. I promise.
Okay.
This game does not count though.
Okay. That makes no sense.
By the way, you're enabling me. As Lauren, I was gonna take a lot of damage from Nisha. Does have the Fairy Fire available, so still some ways to abuse the Morphling mechanics, as it were. Of course, he does have the water runes coming up soon. Great taunt from the Luna, by the way. That is the, I think he had to get like level 600 something to get that taunt.
Yeah, it was as a, how was it? This taunt was like a joke, right? And then they put it in as the highest taunt you could get.
All right, we're not, okay, I will go off on this tangent here in just a moment. It's BZZ getting pressured out of lane for now. But, oh, perfect, thank you. The players they know that a tangent is coming.
I heard the mango story. They needed a break.
This is what happens, okay?
Okay.
So they had this taunt, this cat taunt for Luna originally, and then for some reason they deleted it, right?
Because
that was like 5 years ago.
I think it was considered too bad.
Right. So 5 years ago. Then I came out with a taunt tier list, okay? And I had all the taunts ranked, and then the bonus taunt was actually the Luna one. I'm like, if they put this in, they're going to break next year's TI. And lo and behold, the next TI, they put it in, and I did not get a commission. I'm still emailing Valve every week. Understand what happened there. It's obviously some miscommunication. They maybe don't have my email address or something like that. Perhaps it's going to their spam folder, which probably is the case, in fact. But yeah, it's a great taunt. I would put it as the #1 taunt in the game, actually, because it is so bad, it's good.
So you're saying No Tail is Gaben?
Because he doesn't check his email?
Just like them, yeah. No, nobody reads emails nowadays.
It's too
Actually,
soon.
no. So the thing you got to do is you got to tweet. Tweets always get a response. So you should tweet at Valve for the world to see, Valve, pay me money for something that you made. And then the world will be
That'll
like,
go
yes,
well.
yes.
I will continue to not get invited to TI after that, so no change.
There you go.
Perfect, perfect. Talk to me about this Treant Protector pick. This was a first 2 pick there.
Overall first pick.
First pick
actually.
overall.
#1 first pick.
Yeah, that's very strange.
I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan of picking this hero that early. I feel like it's relatively one-dimensional. A lot of the other supports that you will see picked earlier have more like flexibility. Like you see, what was it? Secret first picked in this game as their support. Their first 2 were, was it Timbersaw Windranger, right? So they had this Windranger who can both be a core and a support, can play in different ways, different itemization. I feel like Treant is pretty. There's just not that much room to. Not that much room for variety, right? You're playing 4 or 5. Either case, you're relatively limited on how much farm you're going to find. You're very defined in the way you play lanes. And I think Treant's biggest weakness as a laner is just Quelling Blade. Like, the fact that literally any hero can buy Quelling Blade, which is cheaper and cheaper every patch at this point, can just start cutting trees, and you use tangos all the time. If Treant can't attack from the trees, he's just not a strong laner. He's slow. Sure, he has good damage, but you can't reach anyone. Right. Then what does it matter? And when you overall first pick it, you make yourself very susceptible to natural counters like the Timbersaw, right? Or something like Bad Rider. Or so I like Treant as a hero when it gets picked late, but the meta right now is often you pick your supports early. So
well, what do you think about
the?
I mean, in terms of the lineup itself, they're lacking stun big time, right?
Right.
You have Adaptive Strike, which technically is a stun. You have a mini stun on Lucent Beam, but everything else, for the most part, is just roots. Terrorize, I guess you can consider a pseudo stun, but no actual just set, single target stun or AoE stun that will help. I mean, Treant Protector has to be in an amazing position for them to set up anything, pretty much. But I mean, in theory, if they can get the spells up, like you said, they do have good combos.
Right, except they don't want to terrorize on Overgrowth because then the heroes aren't running.
Right.
So if they want to combo that with Rupture, there's like a little bit of an anti-synergy in their lineup where things need to really come together well. But I think the main games that Treant thrives in my opinion, are the ones where the enemy team has very bad pushing power and he could defend the tower forever, which is actually the biggest upside for me in this game for Treant is Secret's tower damage is pretty bad. Timbersaw will usually get the tower at, like, say, 5, 7, 8 minutes or whatever by just brute force.
Great line.
But if you keep living armoring that tower, it takes really long for Zai. So that's a good upside. I like Treant for that part. And I like him when there's a natural synergy with Overgrowth, like Phoenix, right? Where you Overgrowth and you cast Supernova or something like that. Or if it's great living
basically Bloodright and Eclipse, right?
Yeah, and it is good, but the problem is, again, the matchup that you're facing, right? You have a Void Spirit who's a very mobile hero. He can buy a Yules and get out of your combo pretty much scot-free. Or you can buy Force Staffs to counter this. And the enemy 2 cores, both Medusa and Timbersaw, can probably just tank through everything. So you really need to make sure Morphling has a good game. And like you said, give him Blood Rage, give him Ags, turn into Willow, and hope that single target damage burst can really get the job done.
I mean, that is a huge like turning point of the game when he does get that Aghanim Scepter. Because I mean, that Jenkins was talking about. I think that now that Earthshaker has been nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, this combo with the Morphling, this is the best combo by far. Like Dark Willow, Shadow Realm is insane. Blood Rage on top, like. What do you do against it? I mean, it's all single target damage technically, but you do it from afar. You have ridiculous amounts of damage from Morphling already on top of the Shadow Realm. So they technically do have answers to kill Medusa, and like stuns maybe aren't even the best thing against Medusa anyway because she's so slow. She's like a siege tank. So as long as you have like that diffusal on top of the Ags, which I assume he's going to go for, in theory they have ways to kill her. But that's considering that the game is maybe even at that point, which is a big if.
Yeah. That is a really big if. And again, the challenge for Gambit in this game is going to be weathering the storm, right? Staying alive, not losing the map like they did in the previous game. And the good news is they will not lose the map as fast because nobody really takes the map as quick as a Brood that has that kind of a start.
True.
I would love to see them really put so much emphasis on not losing towers. I think if they can hold that off and hit their timing and then hopefully overpower Medusa, that is the win condition that I see for them. But it never feels good to have a very defensive lineup against Medusa, right? You know this is going to be a free farm Medusa. Like, we might as well say it right now, right? I just don't see the Radiant lineup preventing that from happening. So they need to believe in their ability to control the later portion of the game and being able to beat a farm Medusa.
Yeah, and I mean, once you get to that point, though, then you technically do have building damage, right? Medusa will start to be able to be unkillable and just hit them. And then you have Timber Saw probably with that shard, right? Be able to...
For sure.
Whatever the hell that thing's called. Flamethrower? Flame something?
I think it's Flamethrower. Yeah, Secret's damage really kicks in, or tower damage really kicks in at that 20-minute mark. That plus Medusa with 2 items can really start getting the job done, but... it does feel like this game is going to be more controlled. I think Gambit will feel less lost, but I think it's going to be really challenging. But they're not going to get run over like the last game. That would be a bit surprising if it goes that one-sided. I might have sounded like that when I talked about the game from the beginning, that I'm worried about them. But it's not because I think they're going to get rolled in 20 minutes. It's because I'm not sure if they can reach their timing in the game where they're stronger. Right. That when their heroes are strong, are they stronger or not?
Right. Yeah, only time will tell. Of course, we talked about this last game, but Gambit have 2 stand-ins, so really no idea what to expect in terms of the actual chemistry between the players, which, you know, could be a benefit, but last game, obviously not so much. I mean, I think it was the right decision to ban the Brood, though. It's just this hero that, like, even if you think that you can counter it, it feels like that is just not the best way to go when you're, especially with like a newer lineup. You don't know each other as well. You're playing against a Brood, it just changes the whole game. That's the issue with the hero. It's always been like that.
Yeah, and then when Secret couldn't get that, they got the Timber Saw, which is also a hero that just changed the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2 bans each first phase. Like that was probably one of the biggest changes that a lot of people didn't talk about when that first became a thing. Was that 2.8 or 2.9 that they did that?
I don't remember.
Either way, like that is a giant change. So because there's always going to be these overpowered heroes. I mean, that's the whole beauty of Dota, is that every hero is overpowered in their own. Oh, except for Chen, of course. I think we established that. But I don't think there's a scenario that exists that Chen would be 5 up. Yeah. I think it would be actually really good.
That would be pretty good, right?
Because a lot of it is the mental aspect of it. You pick this hero, and a lot of people just give up, right? Yeah. Which I don't know what the win rate is right now.
Teams.
It's not like the win rate is abysmal. Like maybe it's 45%, but that's not like,
I think it's
the worst.
I think it's even a bit higher than that. I think it's like 48.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
So, but when you factor in how many times a hero like that gets picked, where it's not for the sole purpose of this, I think this is the best hero or the best pick here, or I'm really good with this hero.
You pick my role, I pick Pudge. Yeah, that's what that hero is becoming.
That feels like 10% of his games at least.
I mean, I can understand that to a certain degree because, you know, you play Pudge. Yeah, you might lose, but you're going to have fun losing, right? It's one of the few heroes. Like, I'm sure, I don't know what it... at that point, so...
No, the thing that's fun about Chen is the suspense of can I take this creep or not, because you don't know how Holy Persuasion works anymore. So go into the jungle, you're like, can't take this one, man. Oh no, that was level 4 now. Okay, I guess I need level 3. Then you go and take that one. Oh, I want the other one. Oh, that needs level 5. So
and then,
get more level.
And then there's Enchantress, who's just busted, right?
And then Enchantress shows up, and Chen's like, how is this fair?
But it feels like Chen has had his time. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he's had his time.
I'm not complaining that Chen isn't broken. There are 2 heroes in Dota that... there's actually more, but there's a couple of heroes that I'm really happy when they're not broken. Chen is one of them. Io
Okay, who else? Give me the whole list.
IO has been good for so long, so it's nice when.
Can you guess my list?
Lion. You hate Mana Drain.
Okay, I mean that's true, but I seem to win every game against Lion, so it doesn't really matter.
Your list is Arc Warden, Tinker, Techies.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Arc Warden especially. I absolutely hate the hero. We're back into the game. Beautiful. What is that spray paint? My goodness. They added that's quite the blue border.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Looking at the CS right now, Luna 25-2 and Medusa 20-6. So Luna off to a pretty good start overall, pressuring Zai right now. Of course, Zai pretty freaking tanky now that he's level 3. And I mean, you talked about this before. I just can't see them killing him. Like they have the, like in the laning stage. I mean, Bloodseeker is good against Timbersaw. That's pretty much the reason they picked this hero.
When he has to move.
Right.
Right. That's the.
You're in this lane. That's kind of the issue right now. So laning stage is kind of free for Zai, I feel like.
Yeah. Similar to last game, though, the lanes are going relatively evenly, right? Nisha with a slight advantage in the mid lane once again, which I think similar to, it's pretty much the exact same as last game. They're both farming. Nisha has like a little minor advantage, but it's basically irrelevant. So again, it's going to be what happens in the next 10 minutes. Last game, Secret completely took over the game in the next 10 minutes. I think this time they're not going to be able to do so, but there's going to be slowly building up toward a very big Medusa, and they're going to wait for Timbersaw to hit maybe a Hood +1 item, and then possibly start grouping up for something. They also won't kill Roche this game that easily. There's definitely some things that Secret had last game that enable them to snowball that will not come into play here.
I mean, it's just a different lineup, right?
Yeah, it's very different.
It's a safe lineup, but it's not something that's going to destroy you right away.
Yeah.
Medusa does need to get farmed, but there's really, like, it feels like a free game. Like, once they get into that triangle and she's able to take out these stacks, it's going to be a pretty freaking good game for Matu. Afterlife with the early urn available to go. Obviously going to be going for, I assume, Spirit Vessel for the Timbersaw at some point.
It's an option, yeah.
What do you think of, like, when you buy an urn or a Spirit Vessel for Timbersaw, how early do you want it? Like, is it game dependent, or is it kind of like you just need to get it immediately?
I actually am of the opinion that Spirit Vessel is often a trap, actually. Oh, let's see. He's
Leech Seed.
So the thing about Spirit Vessel is that a lot of the heroes that you buy it against naturally want to buy an item that counters it, right? Like, let's say you buy Vessel against Timber. How long is your timing window? Timber wants...
Where he gets Lotus.
He wants Lotus or Euros in a lot of games. Oh, good kill on Puppy here. That will be first blood.
Afterlife takes that for himself, and he's buffed up pretty nicely here. Matu getting chased under the tier 1. No, they're going to stop in their tracks.
It looked promising, but Matu had Mana Shield level 1, which means he has 5,000 EHP. So almost got him, but it could have worked.
I mean, I'm actually interested. I never thought I'd say that. I'm interested to see the differences now with with Medusa now that she was kind of nerfed, because the 15 versus 20 level is such a giant change in theory, but in practice I have yet to see it. So, or at least not in a pro game. Yeah, the 35% Mystic Snake mana gain used to be literally the same thing at 15, so that's the big difference.
And then the 1.5 Mystic Snake cooldown used to be 3 at level 20.
Yeah.
So it's just flat out worse. But I think
do you think those changes, do you still get an Ags, I assume? Like,
I'm not sure if you go the Ags build. I don't think like it was obviously the flavor of the month, right? Oh, good damage.
Oh, blood right. Matu extremely low.
He is
TP support
actually dying.
And the right clicks will be enough. Power shot not really going to do too much, so early kill on Medusa.
Great kill to get for Afterlife. Currently, top 3 net worth are all on Gambit, so off to a great start this time around. Last time, similar time last game is when they were about to lose their top tier 1 tower and get 2k gold behind. So off to a much harder start here. And I'm especially impressed with how well the Luna is doing against the Timbersaw. Not because it's like a very Timbersaw favorite lane.
As you say that, Zai does hit 6. Careful, caster curse, young man. Oh, top lane though. Afterlife chasing after Yapsor. He's going to get vision here. One more right click will be enough. He does find it. Puppy just a little bit too late there. Damn. And this off lane for Gambit
really well. And we'll probably not see him level beam anymore. He's probably going to max aura and glaives and just farm jungle. But there is a possibility if you go these 2 in beam that you can transition into an Eclipse build. If, like, let's imagine they want to pull together that wombo combo relatively early with Overgrowth, Terrorize, and Eclipse. There is the possibility of doing it, and obviously enables Bloodseeker to find kills where, you know, you rupture someone and we're talking about, well, what if they just don't move? Eclipse can make you move if there's no creeps around.
Yep, that's true.
So there is that option, but I still think we're going to just see the farming route. I think Gambit might feel relatively confident that as long as they're farming both Morph and Luna, that could overpower Medusa.
Yeah, Lorenov level 9 right now. Of course, he is playing the mid role as Bramble is placed down. But Matu will be able to maneuver himself away.
Loving this from Lorenov, by the way. This is one of the biggest strengths of Morphling is obviously, we talk about the tankiness of Secrets heroes, right? Killing Morphling for Secrets lineup is insanely difficult. Like, they have no immediate silence, they have no instant stuns, they don't have significant bursts. So what's he gonna do? He's stealing Medusa stacks. What are you gonna do about it?
This is huge.
He's the mid hero just in the enemy jungle minute 10. He got a lot of...
Shackle shot into nothing.
Yeah. No cigar.
Yeah. Oh, Nisha actually jumps in.
There's the cigar!
That's a beautiful cigar indeed. Rupture is placed upon him, and they're just going to focus him down now. Looks like they'll find it pretty easily. It's a little bit too deep for Nisha.
There's a life lesson for you. Don't smoke. Like, bad cigar, you just get killed off. Right? Not smoke up to siege. That would have been cool, though. But
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I have to explain the joke to you. You're not very smart.
That's not very nice to say. So people might think that you don't like me.
I don't understand social cues.
Is that making fun of chat or me? Or you making fun of yourself, perhaps?
See, that's what makes a good joke, is that you don't know who's getting insulted.
You know, I love talking about jokes that fail horribly and just bringing them up over and over again. So we're going to continue to do that here. Zai cutting the wave a bit here as the siege is alive and well. So
only level 1 living armor, by the way. So this is a possible tower take for Zai. I would love to see Gambit actually defend here. I think a lot of the time you just let this tower go. I think they can hold it.
They're trading for now. They're going to find, pretty easy kill on BZZ, and I think with that, they're just going to end up trading the tier 1s.
Do you want to call him the rest of the game?
No, I think we might get some Reddit threads discussing how inappropriate that is.
Why?
Because bees are endangered in certain regions of the world.
Is this beeist?
Oh, God, please, no more puns. Cinderin, can you just...
That's not a pun.
Can you tone?
That's not a pun, that's a word.
All right, no more words from you.
Now it's okay.
No more words from you. I think you've had too much caffeine, perhaps. Maybe I should take whatever you drink.
They spiked my water.
That's not very fun.
They put caffeine in my water.
The caffeinated water is a beautiful thing. Americans know all about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right, well, Matu.
I realized my choice of words there wasn't very good. I meant with caffeine, champ.
Yeah, I understand that, Cinderin.
I had to explain it again.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
That's fine.
Afterlife. I'm interested to see what he buys here. So it is the Atos. So he doesn't go for the Spirit Vessel right away. So Atos for a little bit of catch. I mean, we talked about their lack of stun, so that's a nice catch overall.
I forgot to finish off my thought about Vessel from 7 minutes ago. We might get back to that in a second. Let's see if Luna is going to get out. Yep, she will. So the reason I find Vessel to often be a trap is that the heroes you want to buy it against are these heroes that really rely on their region, right? Like, let's say Alchemist or Timbersaw or whatever. But most of these heroes actually have a built-in way or a desire to buy an item that counters Vessel anyway. Let's say Timbersaw, he wants to get Lotus or Yules. Alchemist has his ult that just dispels it, or he could buy the shard as well nowadays. So there's different ways. I find the urn to be really valuable a lot of the time, just because it's like you get it so early and it has such a high impact. But the build up to Vessel is pretty expensive. Yeah. And once you complete that Vessel with the extra 2k gold, the heroes that usually buy it will get overtaken by the timing of the other defensive item, or maybe you have a time window, but it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes. So you're saying that Spirit Vessel is just
not a good item?
I'm not saying that.
That's what you're saying.
I'm saying I feel like it gets bought. Like, it used to be bought a lot and be really successful, but I think nowadays the timing window that you have with it feels a little bit too short to me.
I see.
Even against a hero like Morphling, right? Like, you love to buy Vessel in the past. What does Morphling do? He buys first item Manta, and he gets the Manta when you get the Vessel, and he doesn't feel bad about it because he's like, well,
so what you're saying is they need to revert their change of their reverted change with the passive component to the health minus region.
I don't like the passive component.
Is there anything that you do like, Cinderin?
I like food.
Okay, I'm glad.
Good food.
Now, you're baiting me again. It just no more, please.
You asked an honest answer. It was an honest answer.
No, that's true. You like appetizers, actually. That's something I
really
noticed.
do. I have not had onion rings in a while. Like,
I don't know if they have that here, but that's a little too American.
Can we get
anything that's just mega fried?
I'd like to order an onion ring tower to the caster booth, please. Here.
All right, we have a Shackle onto the creep, along with the Dark Willow. Gets into the Shadow Realm.
That's
There's a Nisha Rupture into the Blood Right. Looks like he... Oh,
good coverage.
Will be popped. Aether Remnant does catch him, and they finally finish him off with Lorenov coming in as that Morphling. So it's a 1-for-1 support for mid. Shackle Shot does connect. See if they can get out of here, does Gambit. Whirling Death. Might be in a little bit of trouble here. He's completely surrounded. Overgrowth is going to be used. And the right click of Lorenov doing so much damage into the waveform. He is on a killing spree. 6-2 advantage for Gambit. I mean, we talked about how they had to get off to a decent start, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Gambit's playing great this game. I'm really impressed. Like, it's clear from the draft that both teams have like limited playmaking potentials, and we talked a lot about it from Gambit's perspective that they won't be able to find very many moves, but they're actually really on the front foot this game. They've found multiple setups with the Bloodseeker. I think this is the second or even third kill. I think it's the second kill on the Void Spirit. Yeah, so they killed him twice with Rupture into the Bloodrite combo, and just him being unable to disengage. And Secret, obviously, if this Void Spirit is not active, they have a similar problem, right? Like they don't have much catch either. So both teams with a little bit of a passive approach, but Gambit definitely getting off to a much better start here. It's looking very promising. And Laranov Morph, just signature hero, really popping off this game.
Yeah, what are his items right now? Let's take a gander here.
Yeah, so he is planning on going Manta first.
Okay.
It could turn into a Diffusal follow-up, I think. So the risk with buying Diffusal as the absolute first item is that if you don't find very good fights immediately, you lose out on farm, right? It's not a very farm-efficient item.
Oh, you see a Shackle counter initiation into the Focus Fire. Afterlife's in a lot of trouble, and Zai will help finish off the poor Bloodseeker.
It's a big kill.
A lot of rotation here from Secret as well.
It didn't work the third time in a row.
Yeah, I assume Nisha at some point will be going for the Aghanim Scepter, so Manta will be very good against the Silence as well.
It's also against this Vessel, right? This is exactly what I talked about. We're actually seeing the whole theory in play right now. Void Spirit, you got the Vessel. He is going to have 0 Vessel uses on a Morph that doesn't have Manta. It's already countered, right? So. And that does not mean that the Vessel is bad and not going to have any impact in this game, but it means that a really big part of the appeal is taken away, because now you need to bait the Manta first.
Which, in all fairness, isn't that hard.
It's definitely that. Well, their heroes aren't the best at doing it, right? Like, what do they have? They have Frostbite that he needs to Manta. There's nothing else, really. There's no, like, strong silence.
An incoming Shackle that you can dodge.
Sure.
Right? If you're fast enough.
Absolutely. But then you dodge that Shackle and wait for him out.
And then eventually the Ags on the Void Spirit.
That is the timing for sure.
All right, well, we'll see a smoke here from Gambit. See if they can find another kill. I mean, we talk about how well the Gambit are doing, and all of a sudden, I mean, not that the net worth is everything to look at, but it's back to essentially even when they had a slight advantage.
Right.
So Secret just taking better use of the map right now. I mean, it is a Medusa, of course, and there's only so many stacks you can take from her. It's just a matter of time that she'll find that farm, and she does have the Manta and going for Scotty's second item.
Just to finally wrap up on the Vessel, so we never talk about it.
Will you stop talking about the Spirit Vessel?
So I think it's also important to not just only focus on the hero where you counter the region, right? Like, it's still a damage item. It's good against other heroes. So, like, yeah, the Morph is buying a Manta, but you can still Vessel the Bloodseeker, you can Vessel the Treant, Willow, whatever you go on. And that extra bit of damage does go a long way in the Void Spirit. So it's not like it's going to be total garbage, but, you know, you have to compare it to, we could have had a faster Axe, could have had a Yules maybe, or whatever we wanted against this other team's lineup. We'll see if it pays off. I'm leaning toward Ags probably having been a better choice, just because of, like the panel talked about, the ability for Secret to fight as 4 while Medusa farms. I think is riding a lot on this Aghanim Scepter really packing a punch. They're gonna try here. I don't think they're gonna get anywhere close to pressuring Laranov, and they won't.
Yeah, Terrorize being primed as well.
Yeah.
The fact that you can cancel that, I feel like, is weird. You know, the Terrorize. The fact that you can see everything, you can hear it, you can see the ground animation before it even goes off.
I think if you couldn't cancel it, it should be silent.
Oh, we're gonna see the Eclipse popped.
Defensive Eclipse.
Yeah, looks like that'll save his life here.
It wasn't even that scary. It was a level 1 Eclipse with a level 3 Lucent Beam, so not the worst.
That is a cooldown down for Secret, or for Gambit, I should say. So Zai does have that Lotus Orb now. So no big surprises in terms of the item department here.
Oh. Very, very close to somehow stunning him with a Chakram, so I got excited. All right. Bloodseeker's gonna force Nisha back to base.
Oh, look at that. 30 attack speed talent taken from Medusa instead of the Mystic Snake cooldown.
He's not going Ags.
Yeah, so no Ags. That's cool. I mean,
I like this build. I actually think this is the way you should go as Medusa. You should not take the, like in most cases, probably don't take the Snake cooldown and don't go Ags now. I think this change to the timing and everything just makes this, I think, this build more powerful. Like Manta Scotty Butterfly or Satanic or whatever you want. optional Lincolns if it's a game for that. Optional BKB, optional Shard. Shard could be interesting here, actually.
Shard is good because it refreshes some of your mana, but it's even better with Ags if you end up getting it, right?
It's also form. There's just a couple of good spells here, right, that are going to target you a lot of the time. Like, you're going to get a Casual Snake out of the Lucent Beam, you're going to get it out of Adaptive Strike, Rupture, even... I mean, I don't think you think about Leech Seed, really. I don't think Train is going to use that on Medusa pretty much ever.
And he uses Leech. I'll try to do that in the next fight. Leech Seed is used. Unbelievable. The heal and the slow.
That actually sounds like a pretty funny content piece where you like find the most boring spells and hype them up as much as possible. Like, instead of it's like an insane 5-man black hole.
He uses a Tango. Unbelievable.
Oh, could you imagine casting like that?
I already do, kind of.
Yeah.
I just pick a random here and go with it. Lorna.
He's low on. Oh, boy.
Yeah, waveform's out to safety, and Secret just doesn't have enough right now to take him out.
Missing a little bit.
That was all 5 of them, too, actually.
This looks like a smoke posture from Gambit, but I think they're just going to farm.
Oh, look at this. So it's actually not going to be the Diffusal. It will be the second item.
I like it.
So, okay, do you go Diffusal later? It feels like that's an earlier, game item.
Maybe you do it because of Medusa, but I honestly, I don't think so. I think you just pack a punch, right? You just get more damage items, post more of a threat.
All right, he's about 1,000 away from finishing that bad boy, and then we're going to see the Shadow Realm combo.
Is there a world where you go Octarine just because you're playing with Willow, so that you can turn into it a lot more frequently and have lower cooldowns?
I mean, don't you have a talent for that?
I mean, even if you do, more is good, right?
I think the talent lasts longer is what it is. For the morph.
Yeah, it's not just the morph, though. I'm thinking about the spells he has while he's Willow, right? That he gets to use Shadow Realm a lot more frequently.
So when you're in that form with Ags on Morphling, you get 400 extra range. Does that also work with Shadow Realm? Like, because it's technically an attack, right? And Shadow Realm already gives you a long-range attack, but there's a 400...
I don't think you get the extra 400.
Range.
I don't think so, but you also don't really need it.
Yeah, I mean, it's already absurd amount, for sure.
And yeah, he did indeed take the 16 morph second morph duration over 15 agility. Yeah, both of those talents are incredible, by the way. Super good option.
We can see Puppey already priming to try to get a Ghost Scepter for himself to try to counteract the right clicks of Morphling, but of course, I mean, after that, what do you go on Morphling? Like, is E-Blade still a thing after that? Because it doesn't really combo exactly with the Shadow Realm, but you can use it as like maybe a finisher.
He could. I wonder, again, I wonder if he's, how obsessed he is with countering Medusa, right? Like, I honestly still feel like the Diffusal could be a thing. I realize I'm kind of backtracking on it, but I do see a world where that is an item he could buy. If not, I think just like Butterfly,
right?
I guess. Like, I
think we're going to see a smoke here. Yeah, Lorna has double damage. He has an Illusion Rune. He has his Aghanim Scepter. He is all. Dude, that's very bad though. That is. All right, DR pops the BKB. Focus Fire not really doing too much damage. There's the Eclipse to follow with the Blood Right in addition. They're going to find one. They're going to find two. And just like that, I believe they knew that Morphling had the Aghanim Scepter, and they're probably going to go for Roche now. This is looking real good. That was for Gambit.
I'm honestly...
How did Luna survive?
Making the call there to use BKB on 10% health.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's a very, very good call, because you're getting focus fired, but you have so much armor that like this pitiful focus fire with just a javelin, it does very, very little damage. So he realizes there's enough time to buy to come in for a terrorize, and with that, actually gets the help, gets the 2 kills, they get the Roche, they get the mid-tier 1 in all likelihood here, unless Secret can put up some really incredible defense. Oh, well, that'll start them off.
They do have some chain stun, but Lorna just shrugs it off as he turns into Dark Willow temporarily.
I'm surprised he isn't just doing that and hitting the tower from 1,000 range instead of meleeing the tower, right? Like, you could just play this safe and take it. There's no tower defense on the enemy team except when you come in close.
This instantly gets full HP. What a great mechanic. Morphling's so hilarious, man. Yeah. What a hero.
It just makes me laugh every time.
Hilarious.
You know what? Every time I play against Morphling and Lane, I have a sensible chuckle. I'm like, oh, it's so
great.
At
my level of play, that's not really a thing, so.
Yeah. At your level of play, people complain about Lion's mana drain, so that's...
It is annoying.
Yeah. I mean,
the Lion does lose the game, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just a real tilter. Nope, there we go. Looks like he's listening in.
Speak of the devil.
Yep. Manta off the Frostbite there. Or not Manta, that was just the Illusion Rune.
Yep. But this is something I think teams got really much better at 2 years ago. It was one of the biggest changes to Dota, I think, was how much more emphasis teams started putting on defending towers and like allocating resources to like holding this mid tower for Secret right now is so integral that they are willing to park 3 heroes there for the next 5 minutes if they have to.
Yeah.
As long as Medusa is farming, not losing that tower is so crucial that they know in terms of net worth, like let's say the Morph is solo hitting this mid tower and they're defending it with 3, they might be losing out a bit on farm because the enemy team can be farming jungle or whatnot, but holding that tower is just worth it. Even if you lose 1,000 gold, 1,500 gold, that tower is worth way more.
Yeah, we're going to see an Arcane Rune Morphling as the
nice blank.
Gambit. Yeah, Atos is disjointed there. So we'll likely try to turn this into a tier 1 mid, but that's easier said than done. I mean, Medusa has Manta, Scotty, working towards Butterfly. Went for the evasion talent, I believe, so...
It's going down now.
So will Morphling, yeah, we'll get the tier 1 tower, but at what point on Morphling do you go for like an MKB? Is that ever a thing? It feels kind of weird to go non-stat items.
I guess it can be kind of cool with Shadow Realm, right?
Yeah, because you don't miss.
Yep. That's kind of what you do for MKB for.
Yeah, because Luna is also not really the most typical MKB carrier either.
Right.
I mean, she was a Divine Rapier carrier, but that doesn't have True Strike anymore.
I'm not sure.
And she's going Aghanim Scepter. It's SNY BKB Dragonlance Ags. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is pretty unusual build. I guess what they're thinking is from the Luna's perspective, so I kind of like that idea. Oh, that is cool.
Good Cat is a dead Dark Willow, but Morphling turns into a better Dark Willow, so it's a 1-for-1, not including the death that they already had on the Void Spirit. And look at this, how pitiful the damage is against Lorna right now. Shadow Realm again, Matu.
Okay,
Mana is getting burned big time as a result of all this damage. Remember, Age is still intact.
Lorna, this is not a 9k pup. Take it easy, brother. This is not going to work.
I'm sure he'll be fine. There's the Shadow Realm again.
Good pressure, though.
They're going to have a hard time killing him in that form as well.
Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse not doing a whole lot. And actually, looks like he might be in some trouble here. Pops the BKB a little bit late, and here comes the Morphling, trying to apply some more pressure. Again, Nisha dies. That's it. Basically died right after respawning, and now Matu ruptured. Lorna looks like he'll expend the Aegis in the very least. Nope, waveform's away. He'll just leave his tree to die instead. So BZZ ends up going down here, but...
All right.
All right. I mean, 3K net worth lead for Gambit. They're looking pretty good. The Luna didn't die despite, I mean, it looked like he was going to. And she's very close to Ag. 1,000 away for her, so that's another power spike for Gambit.
I wonder if Gambit could get strong enough that they can take over.
Enchanted Quiver on Morphling, right? Is that a gimme? What does he have right now? Yeah, this got it.
Yeah, you got it. You take it.
So good. 400 damage extra. And they're getting everything they want right now. He's going Satanic too, so a lot tankier. Has a Dispel. Is that even useful against Frostbite? I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Satanic now is the fact that it dispels and like take Lifestealer for example, a hero that would not really get Satanic in the past, but being able to just ensure that you can get your BKB off your Rage.
Right.
Pretty powerful.
In many situations, they actually replaced BKB as an item for that reason. Because on many of the carries in the past, you would buy BKB to counter silences. You could just Satanic it off and just stand your ground. Are they actually getting Nisha for a 4th? Is that 4th or 5th kill on this guy this game? That will be the 5th.
Dodges the fear, but inside the Blood Rite still and still ruptured. Of course, BKB popped by the Luna.
Where's Lorna?
Doesn't have an Eclipse to work with right now, so it looks like he might just drop. And with that, Secret finally with an advantage in a fight here.
Lorna with the Gork cosplay, no TP. Ooh.
I hope Gork's not watching.
That is not good.
3 dead for Secret, and they're going to punish this by taking this tier 2 tower as well.
That is Gambit's first major mistake of the game. They chose to engage on this Void Spirit, and they've had a great track record, right? But this time around, it was in the other side of the map where Secret have control. They have more heroes placed down here. It's very different making this move at the bottom tier 2 than it is at the top tier 1 area. Right. And you couldn't bring your strongest hero. I mean, it's great that you have the outpost, but he's not connecting. A Morph TP there, total different story. I think the move would have worked. I think they would have got maybe 1 or 2 kills and 0 casualties, but that is huge. That equalizes the game. Secret just full-on came back. They got a tier 2. They get access to the enemy outpost, and they're going to retreat probably to just farm their triangle a little bit and wait to contest maybe next Roshan.
Oh my, Wind Ranger. Yaps are going for a Nullifier. This is a position 4, by the way. Blink Maelstrom Nullifier. Very cool. So does Nullifier work against Shadow Realm? How does that work?
No.
It's a constant dispel. You have to do it before. It doesn't work against it if you hit it after.
I don't think so. I don't see. The Shadow Realm is undispellable.
So what are your thoughts on Nullifier then?
Am I making this up? Is that dispellable?
I mean, it sounds right, but it's not dispellable.
Cannot be dispelled.
Yeah. I mean, you can't click him once it's activated, obviously. I thought maybe since it's...
Right, I know what you mean. It's decent against living armor here. What else would it counter? The Ewels of Willow.
Yeah, Ewels. There's no Ghost Scepters yet.
That might actually be the primary reason he's buying it, is to be able to catch and kill the Willow on his own. But again, like you said, he could still Shadow Realm dodge, so he's got to catch him off guard.
It feels like if Morphling turns in, if he just uses his ult on Dark Willow, it doesn't even matter anymore.
I feel like I must be overlooking something. Why is Nullifier so good here?
Well, we'll see soon enough. I'm actually interested to see why Nisha is going for Shard very early. I don't know if I've seen that before. As we're going to see the Bramble. BKB popped by Zai, and he's going to... Oh, looks like he'll be okay here.
Found Afterlife in the meantime. Puppy Yapsor as well as Nisha finding that kill. And Nisha got ruptured.
Ruptured again. What do you think? So the Shard, it looks like he's going BKB first, but Shard, in order to... Like for the dissimulate, you get the extra range, so if you're ruptured, you can get extra distance away. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is just like there's no game where it's bad, right? It's one of those. It's just a super feels good pickup because you can, you can retreat better, you can play better offensively.
Right.
It just gives you options that you don't usually have on how to play positionings and fights. So I like it. I think he would rather just get it as a Roche kill, right? But I think the writing on the wall right now for Secret is that they're not getting this next Roche unless they find a really good team fight.
I mean, that's the other thing. Roche is not super fast for either team, really.
Right.
They don't have crazy Roche killers. I mean, Morphling hits like a truck, no doubt, but...
Mark is actually pretty fast when he turns into Willow. You saw last time. He had a DD, though, so that's a bit unfair to compare, maybe, but...
Yeah, one of the best DD heroes in the game, for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, though, because you have, like, this Luna who's going more for... It feels like a hybrid build, right? It's going E-Blade. Wow! So it's just committing to the all-magic damage. That's very interesting. Especially considering Morphling, for the most part, is doing... Like, I guess it's more of a mix with this Shadow Realm, but a ton of magic damage himself.
Again, I think the logic, it comes back to Medusa, right? Oh, hang on.
First crown into the Bramble. Matu's going to tank up a little bit of that as we hear BKB popped. As Nisha ruptured again, and the Shadow Realm Morphling is destroying him along with Puppy. They're going to find the tree, so it's a 2-for-1 to start things out as a buyback. Now onto the tree and Protector. Zai has the BKB activated, but the right clicks are doing so much work against him. They're going to take him out again with the Shadow Realm from Lorinov. The Satanic keeps him very healthy. Matu has to pop the ult to get himself away. Yapsor will not be so lucky, so a 4-for-1 with the buyback onto the tree ant.
God, Lorinov is he's doing so many things right, except that one time he didn't have TP. It's basically been super clean from him. There's a lot of things that are really good there. So first of all, Matu has cooldown on Manta. So when he gets Curse Crowned, which obviously has the extra cast range with the Morph Ags, he is just isolated from the fight. And Lorinov doesn't pursue that kill. He sees something else, immediately goes and snipes out the Void Spirit. He knows he has the mobility and the range to take care of business when he gets ruptured. And just one target to the next to the next. And Secret don't have the solutions right now to take out this Morphling.
Who is going MKB now, by the way.
Yep. I like it. Like when you look at how the fights are going right now, he's really unchallenged in the game. And thinking back, they first faced this hero and Secret haven't really solved it. And I was all aboard the Secret train in this game for how I thought it was going to go based on game 1, but Gambit have just... Now that they're not facing a Brood that's just ruining their game, we get to see how they can really play, and this is good stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely looking way better. I mean, would you give them the advantage? I know it's only a 1K net worth lead. Is it going to get the second Roche, which is the big Roche?
They definitely have the advantage if they get this one, and they will.
Who gets the Shard here?
Shard currently on Luna.
I mean, Luna's is probably better than Morphling, although double adaptive strike is pretty freaking good. We're going to see the Shard from afar. Matu, very little mana to speak of as he's stuck inside the Bramble now. Zai pops the BKB. They did kill the Dark Willow, and Morphling might be next. He does have the Aegis, though. Luna pops the BKB, and the right clicks looks like they'll be enough, although Matu's very tanky. Finally take him out. And now the chase is on for the rest of Secret. Bloodright won't quite connect. Satanic is popped to be able to take off that Frostbite. Okay. So I mean, they get Medusa, which is huge, but at the very least, Secret does take out the Aegis.
I think given the circumstances, that's a good fight for Secret. This is a bit concerning, though. Morph is going to bottle up a DD.
Yikes.
I wonder how Laurinov died the first time, right? So he got caught by a silence from Void Spirit, but he has 2 dispels. Were they both on cooldown? Did he just panic a little bit? Because that should have been possible for him to
The
get out of it.
Satanic was used a little bit later. I think, what's the cooldown of Satanic these days? I feel like it's not that low.
Yeah, it's not. So he definitely had that. I don't know. Maybe something else that I missed. Maybe he got stunned by something, but... All right, they're going to try to siege high ground. I like it. They have 40 seconds on Medusa. They have the DD.
They still have cheese. They have Solar Crystal.
Oh, Dream.
Oh my goodness. Shackle shot onto 2. He has to pop the cheese to stay alive. And Laurinov is destroying these structures right now. He's relatively low as Eclipse is put on the backside. Yapstor has to try to wind run away. They're going to dive into the tower now as Nisha pops the BKB to survive. But with that space, they take out an entire set of racks. Very nicely done from Gambit.
Dude, the waveform attacks targets with Satanic is just so disgusting. His waveforms through a creep wave full HP. Oh my god. Was that what you talked about earlier? Was that when he had the Satanic? I think he only had the lifesteal back then. But when you pop Satanic into it, it's just like...
Yeah, it's absurd.
So crazy. All right, 7K lead for Gambit. They take that lane.
The meme lineup is working. I wouldn't call it a meme, but this does feel like a pub thing where you're like, Morphling, Dark Willow, Bloodseeker, no stun.
When I look at drafts and I see an underdog and I feel like this is going to look grim for them and they do well, I'm always happy. Like, I'm always happy to see and be wrong about something like this because, you know, it's easy to write off the underdog team. You feel like they got crushed in game 1 and Secret have a solid idea, but Gambit are just really kicking it up here. They've switched gears and... it's wonderful to see. It gives you hope that they could be able to pull out top 2. Like, getting a draw against Seeker is definitely not a bad start. The big challenges also lie ahead. Like, there's
there's a lot of good teams.
2 Chinese giants. You're facing Nigma as well. And Execration, who a lot of people probably wrote off a little bit, but might also be very surprising. SCA has been looking very good lately. So the global competition right now, I think, is closer than ever.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, before the last major, NA was the only one that was questionable for a lot of people. Well, and South America, I guess, but both turned up in a big way for that major.
Trying to do a bit of Laurinov here.
Shackle, which is reflected into another Shackle. Very nice.
That is one thing that Laurinov doesn't have with his build. He has no status resistance, and a lot of the time on Morph you will see Morph have an SNY or some sort of other, or they will have a hard dispel or whatever. So if he does get caught by these stuns, he is susceptible. Primarily Medusa. It's not that good against the rest, obviously. Windrunner with, does she have any True Strike? She doesn't, right? She only has the Maelstrom, so...
Still working on a Nullifier.
Yeah.
Oh, Penta-Edge Sword. Zai has to pop the BKB as he's found in his own jungle.
Nope.
How dare you be in your own jungle at this stage of the game. Matu did have, obviously, the Butterfly. What is he finishing now? I think he was going for Shard last I checked. Yeah, actually finished the Mjolnir. Very interesting. But the Shard, what do you think of Shard without Ags? Because I'm not saying it's bad, but you're just losing like half the effect, it feels like, you know?
I still think it's good. Here. Oh boy, Nisha. If they would have chased, they could have killed him. They might think he just TP'd out, but he actually doesn't have his TP yet.
Yeah, they don't have vision of him right now.
I like the Shard. I think it's worth picking up, personally. Like you said, it is better with the Scepter, but how else would you spend 1,400 gold right now for the same value, right?
So it was Luna that took the Shard from Roche, I believe, right?
I do believe.
So Lucent Beam now can be used on the ground, essentially, and it gives off a couple Moonglaves, I believe, in addition to
325 search radius and hits 2 targets within 500 range of the Lucent Beam and reduces mana cost by 50.
Which, with her build, the Moonglave's not that great. Right?
She has Timeless Relic. She has Timeless Relic and Ags Eclipse. She hurts.
And she's almost 25 as well.
Yep.
That'll be very nice. As Morphling again taking out a tower. They just can't deal with this hero.
Secret are actually really in trouble. Like, they're not just behind. This is a hard game because it's difficult for them to access the map since their catch is as limited as it is. And if they don't access the map, Gambit are going to end the game with the next Roche, most likely. All right, they're going to pressure. Oh,
Bramble to start. There's the E-Blade. Okay, not the greatest layering, but there's the Eclipse on top of him. He's still stuck. Already popped his ult. He's just getting burnt down. 95 seconds. No more Matu. No buyback. Another Rupture on Nisha. It seems to be reserved for him literally every single time. And this will likely be another Rax, if not GG. I mean, they're going to try to force out this buyback that will not come. And they have the building hitters. Unlike last game. Seeing a lot of more promise here from Gambit. Is there the jump from Nisha? So BKB, another rupture applied to him. Now he's going to get rooted on top, and the right click should be more than enough. He's going to have to buy back into the game immediately, but while this space is being created, the racks are being destroyed. We've seen this story before. Man, there's way too much damage and way too much sustainability from game.
Look at Laurenov's inventory. Like, how do you actually kill this guy? He has Manta, BKB, Satanic, and Minotaur.
Yeah, he's
like 4 different dispels.
I mean, he has to make a mistake for you to kill him.
Nisha. Oh,
yeah, Nisha. That is a... Oh, he actually gets out just barely. Oh, as the Bramble connects there. I believe that is the Curse Crown Shard, if I'm not mistaken. Is this going to be Mega Creeps at the very least? 30 seconds, no Matu still. Zai dead for 76.
And Laurenov disconnects. He's out. It's over. Are they going to pause or what?
No, I'm guessing GG's were called. I think
okay.
We might have the players muted or something like that.
Yeah, for some reason we don't see the... I was like, that's a power move.
I think it's because of the voice lines, actually. I was wondering why we haven't heard any voice lines.
Oh, could
Usually people spam the crap out of that. But yeah, I mean, Laurenov on the Morphling, Jenkins brought up the possibility of him